Welcome back to another daily Leetcode walkthrough. I'm really glad you're here. Today we are tackling a graph problem called Count the Number of Complete Components. Real quick, as we go through this, if any part doesn't make sense, just pause and ask a question in the comments. I read them all, and I'll gladly help clear things up for you. Here is the problem page itself. It can look a bit dense with all the graph terminology, so let's break it down visually. In simple terms, a graph is just a collection of dots, which we call vertices or nodes, and lines connecting those dots, which we call edges. A connected component is basically an isolated island of these nodes. If you land on any node in the island, you can follow the edges to reach any other node in that same island. Now, here is the important part. A component is only considered complete if every single node in that specific group is directly connected by a line to every other node in that group. Let's look at a triangle of 3 nodes. The first node connects to the second and third. The second connects to the first and third. And so on. Everyone is friends with everyone else. This is a complete component. But what about a square of 4 nodes connected in a circle? It's connected, sure, but the nodes on opposite corners don't have a direct line between them. So a basic square is not complete. You'd need diagonal lines across the middle to make it complete. Our job for this problem is simply to look at the entire map we are given, find all the isolated islands, and count exactly how many of those islands are fully complete cliques. One important edge case to remember right from the start. What if we have a node sitting completely by itself with no edges at all? Well, technically, it is connected to all 0 of its friends. So a lone node is actually considered a complete component of size 1. Just a quick heads up, as always, we will be walking through the logic using Python, because it's very easy to read. But if you code in Java, C++, or JavaScript, don't worry, I have the full solutions for those at the end of the video. Okay, let's jump into the first approach. The core idea here relies on pattern matching. If a group of nodes is perfectly complete, then every single node in that group will have the exact same list of connections. For example, if nodes A, B, and C form a complete triangle, then A's list of connections is A, B. Circa B's list is also A, B, C. They are identical. So we can just create a list of connections for every node, sort them so they look identical, and tally them up. If a pattern with 3 nodes shows up exactly 3 times, boom, we found a complete component. Here is the full code for that first approach. We build the graph, add every node to its own list so it counts itself, and then we use a dictionary to count how many times each sorted list pattern appears. Finally, we count the patterns where the length of the list matches how many times we saw it. Let's look at the second approach, which uses depth-first search. This is often the most common way people tackle graph problems in interviews. The idea is simple. We walk through an island, and as we walk, we just count how many total nodes are there, and how many total connections they have. Here is the math trick that makes this work. If an island is perfectly complete, and it has a total number of nodes, which we will call V, then every single one of those nodes must be connected to exactly V minus 1 other nodes. Because our graph map lists connections going both ways, if we add up all the connections for every node in the island, the grand total should equal the number of nodes, multiplied by the number of nodes minus 1. Let's look at the code for this DFS approach. First, we set up our basic graph map, using the edges we were given. We also set up a count for our complete groups, and a set to keep track of which nodes we have already visited. Next, we define our DFS helper function. Notice that info list parameter? We pass that around to keep our running totals. Position 0 stores the node count, and position 1 stores the total connection count. As we visit a node, we mark it visited, increment our node count, add its connections to our total, and then recursively visit its neighbors. Finally, the main loop. We go through every possible node from 0 to n-1. If we haven't visited it yet, it means we found a new island. We reset our info counts to 0, run the search to explore the whole island, and then we check our magic formula. If total edges equals nodes times nodes minus 1, we increment our final answer. Let's do a quick dry run to see that math formula in action. Imagine a perfectly complete island made of 3 nodes, 0, 1, and 2. We start exploring at node 0. We add 1 to our node count, making it 1. Node 0 has 2 edges pointing to the others, so we add 2 to our edge count. The search moves to node 1. Node count becomes 2. Node 1 also has 2 edges, so our total edge count becomes 4. Finally, we visit node 2. Our node count reaches 3. Node 2 has 2 edges, bringing our grand total of counted edges up to 6. Now the search finishes and we check the formula. Our node count is 3, and edge count is 6. Does 6 equal 3 multiplied by 2? Yes, it does. So the algorithm correctly identifies this island as a complete component. The editorial also mentions a third approach, using breadth-first search. The logic is very similar to the last one, but instead of using recursion to dive deep into the graph, it uses a queue to explore level by level, gathering all the nodes in the island first, and then checking their connections. Here is the start of the BFS code. It sets up the graph and the visited array just like before. And here is the rest of it. It uses a while loop with a queue to gather every node into a list called component. Then, it just loops through that list and checks if every single node has exactly component length -1 edges. If they all do, it counts it. Lastly, there is a fourth approach using a classic algorithm called union find or disjoint set. The idea here is that you start by pretending every node is its own separate island. As you loop through the edges provided in the input, you merge those islands together. The clever part of using union find for this problem is that when we merge two groups, we can update the new combined group to keep track of its total size and the total number of edges it contains. Here is the setup for the union find approach. We create arrays to track the parent or leader of each group, alongside the size and edge count arrays. The find function just helps us look up who the leader of a node's group is. This is the union function. When we connect two nodes, we find their leaders. If they have different leaders, they are from different groups, so we merge them. We update the size, and importantly, we add the edges from both old groups together, +1 for the new edge connecting them. If they already had the same leader, we just add 1 to the group's edge count. Finally, after processing all the edges, we just loop through the nodes. If a node is its own leader, it means it represents a whole island. We use a slightly different math formula here, because union find counts edges exactly once, not twice like the adjacency list. If the edge count equals size times size -1 divided by 2, it's a complete component. No matter which of these approaches you use, the complexity is basically the same. It takes order n plus m time, where n is the number of nodes and m is the number of edges, because we have to process every node and every edge at least once. The space complexity is also order n plus m to store the graph structures and visited sets. To summarize the key takeaways, depth-first search and breadth-first search are perfect tools for grouping connected items together. And knowing simple mathematical properties about graphs, like how many edges a complete graph should have, can turn a complicated verification step into a single line of math. Before I show the code for the other languages, I want to mention I've updated the format of these videos recently to keep the slides moving faster with more visual focus. Since this channel uses AI to help generate these explanations so I can study faster, I am always tweaking the prompts. Please let me know in the comments if you like this faster bite-sized slide format or if you prefer the older, slower style. And again, drop any questions about the problem down there too. If you want to test the code we just went over yourself without retyping it, you can go to the Leetcode unlocked.com/link in the description. You can copy the exact code shown in this video, and it really helps support the channel. Alright, as promised, here are the full solutions for Java, C++, and JavaScript using the depth-first search approach. Here is the full depth-first search solution written in Java. Next up, here is the C++ version, using a nice lambda function for the search. And finally, here is the solution in JavaScript. Before we finish up, I want to mention my secondary goal is to eventually post a solution for literally every single Leetcode problem on the platform. If you want to study older problems outside of just the daily challenge, check out the main channel page. If you want to help support that goal of covering every problem, you can donate at buymeaboba.com/LeetCodeDaily. Also, please make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I post the daily Leetcode problem as soon as it comes out, so you can get your streak done early. Keep coding, and I'll catch you in the next one.